Hey folks, Dave the Not So Evil Viking 13, and today I want to bring you guys some final thoughts on the Battlefield Hardline beta. First, before I dig into things, let's take a look at this super helpful teammate right here. Look at this guy. He sees a problem, and he sees a solution.
No problem. Thanks.
Thanks, battle buddy. Anyway, Hardline final thoughts. So, I actually feel a little bit foolish about doing a final commentary just because I had my first thoughts, and we had a nice long podcast about it with Skinner, Barkley, and Squantoon. But the reason I'm doing so is I spent quite a bit of time on the last few days of the beta recording that 4K slow motion video that you guys saw last weekend. In that video, I did lots of just solo playing, just on my own, with the user interface and all the HUD stuff turned off, and recording at 60 FPS, but the longer that I played, trying to capture some cool cinematic moments, the more the theme continued to kind of just click with me. Additionally, just from the number of hours that I put in while recording that, I finally kind of just found my flow with the weapon recoil and with the pace of the game. Up until that point, including before our big Battlefield Hardline podcast on the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast, the game really hadn't clicked gameplay-wise for me. I had had some fun playing with the usual gang online, but compared to even Battlefield 4, I hadn't really found my stride yet. Once I kind of found that, and started playing all these different modes and missions, even on my own, I really began to enjoy the game more. I'm definitely not blind to the, I'd say even many flaws that Battlefield Hardline has, but I'm no longer quite as bitter and uninterested as I was originally in time for our podcast. Because I've talked so much already about the things that I have issues with in Hardline, let's talk about the things that I do like. And the easiest answer is, first of all, the theme. I love the idea of a cops and robbers shooter. Even though I think it's a bit too fast-paced, the irreverence of the theme is a lot of fun. In fact, I've enjoyed the theme so much that I was really surprised to see that there was some pushback on Twitter and a few other places about, the stuff like the middle finger spotting and some of the ridiculous over-the-top stuff like that. Some people were really just either not interested in that or even offended, I guess, as offended as you can be on Twitter. But I actually like the theme a lot. I don't think a 32 versus 32 or 16 versus 16 cops and robbers multiplayer would have worked if they had tried to go for a completely serious theme. I mean, it's just too ridiculous of a concept to try and maintain a serious atmosphere. So overall, the theme is definitely fun. I like that there are fewer numbers of weapons. There's less random gadgets, and because there's less aircraft and vehicles, there's no crazy lock-on rocket launchers that target for you and stuff like that we saw in Battlefield 4. One of my biggest complaints in Battlefield 4, besides the technical issues, was the bloat. There's just tons of gadgets and gear and stuff that you just didn't need, and there wasn't a good game at the core to make up for it. So, to see things a bit trimmed down in Hardline is nice. I do think that they could have trimmed things down even further. There could have been a few fewer weapons, a few fewer unlocks, but even the unlocks are handled in a better way. When you get an unlock in your battle pack for, say, a scope, you can then choose to spend that unlock ticket on the gun of your choice. That makes sense from a gameplay perspective, from a design perspective, from a user interface perspective, and a user experience perspective. It's just less stuff to worry about. You already have to unlock all these things. Let me unlock them for the guns that I want to use them on. I don't want an 8x scope for my shotgun. And of course, gameplay-wise, you have tons of additional improvements that a lot of people have been talking about, including the developers in the run-up to the beta. Stuff like ammo and health scattered around the map, the ability to take ammo and health from teammates who aren't cooperating, and handing out more points for teamwork. All of these lead to a better overall experience, especially compared to those initial gameplay sessions of Battlefield 4. As far as game modes go, you guys saw my original Hotwire video from day one of the beta, and I was already having a bunch of fun in that game mode. Now, I'm not convinced that that fun will last forever. That game mode might get stale very quickly, but I also managed to have a lot of fun in heist mode finally. On the first few days of the beta, everyone was just kind of running around like crazy and not playing the objective. I had a few good rounds in heist mode with friends, but that's always hard to judge because it could be just the fact that you're playing with friends that makes it fun. But while recording that slow motion video, I actually had a bunch of good games with randoms in random lobbies. I had teams that were not only working together, they were working together against the other team in a actually coordinated fashion, and that was a lot of fun. If Visceral manages to get rid of some of those audio glitches that make it sound like you die too quickly, tweak the weapon balance just a bit more, and maybe slow the time to kill down just a bit, I feel like heist mode will really shine in the final version of the game. So there's some high notes from the Battlefield Hardline beta at last. I know I hadn't really articulated them well before, but they're definitely out there, and playing that final weekend, I finally started to see them. And of course, a big part of why I had a good bit of fun in those last few days of the beta is because Battlefield Hardline is definitely a Battlefield game. It's a smaller scale Battlefield game, it has a unique theme, but if Bad Company 2 can be a Battlefield game, so can Battlefield Hardline. And in the end, even as a rather bitter, long-time Battlefield fan, I still like Battlefield, I'm still good at Battlefield, and there may still be some Battlefield content to come. Remember though, kids, no pre-orders. If day one reviews are good and the single player is decent, I might pick it up for maybe $35 to $37. Before that last weekend, I would have put my purchase price for Hardline at maybe $20, but I've kind of seen the appeal now, I've had some fun, and I'd say $35 to $37.50 is about where I am as far as purchasing it. I hope that with this video, I've kind of provided some balance to my initial views and to our thoughts on the podcast. Hopefully I haven't been too hard on Hardline, excuse the awful pun, but that's where it stands. Let me hear what you guys think down in the comments. Overall, I would say that the community is still pretty divided over Battlefield Hardline. It's always interesting to hear what other people are thinking. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.